at the Technology and Maintenance Council in beautiful Orlando, Florida. It's the annual meeting. The theme of the show is Electrifying Performance in Maintenance Management. My guest today, a returning guest, is Michael Ferguson from Airway. Michael was on episode 104. So if you want to go back and learn about their onboard scales for commercial trucks and trailers, you can listen to episode 104. Links will be in the show notes. Michael, welcome to the Heavy Duty Parts Report. This time we get to do it in person.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm excited.
All right. So what have you been sharing with fleets at TMC?
Well, we got a couple things. The main thing is we've released a brand new product. It's called QuickWay. So it goes along with, so now we have a full suite of products all the way from our LoadMax, which is the one that has all the interconnectivity. You can integrate with onboard computers, which is what we talked about last time. But the QuickWay is an entry-level scale. This is more for smaller fleets or owner-operators. It allows them to get a tool that allows them to legalize their suspensions at a much more affordable cost. So now you can get a full digital scale mounted on the trailer and the truck for those suspensions, and it'll give you those accurate weights just like they're used to with all the other Airway scales, but at $250 or less. Wow. So it's a great way for these smaller fleets or owner-operators to get into a complete scale system to legalize their loads.
Right. So you now have, like you say, you now have this full range of products. Why was that so important to Airway to get this entry-level product into the marketplace?
Because we do have a lot of smaller fleets or owner-operators where investing in a product where they may not use all of the features, like maybe they don't have an onboard computer that they want to integrate with. They don't want to connect to a printer. They just need a basic way to get their weights. So we thought we need to provide that for them so they can get into an affordable scale system. Still get all those weights, still be able to solve those problems and legalize, but at a price that they can afford with their fleet.
So this may seem like an obvious question for someone who operates a truck. They know what's at stake. But for like maybe a repair technician or a parts technician who doesn't really understand, what's at stake for a driver if they're not, like you say, if they're not legalized?
Yeah, so if you think about it, especially in today's world with trucks and trailers, they're all being built lighter weight. Everything's coming lighter weight. They promote it. The trailers are using different materials, the tractors. So every time you go overweight, because you don't know if you don't have a scale when you're loading, you're risking damaging that truck. Yeah. So you could be damaging axles, the suspensions, the frame, because they're not designed to be overloaded anymore. So every time you overload, that means that's a chance that that truck and that trailer is going to be spending a lot more time in the maintenance shop than where it should be, which is on the road.
Right. And if it's not on the road, it's not making money, especially if you're an owner operator. I mean, this is not just your livelihood. This is your family involved here.
Exactly. Yeah. So for us, it's, a lot of times it's about, we eliminate the out of route miles that you do, is the hours of service by trying to find a scale because you don't have an onboard one. But like you said, it's still significantly about the maintenance and the safety. If you overload those trucks, they become unsafe, and then you're breaking them. And then that's going to cost you money, not just the time that you're spending trying to find a scale.
Right. One of the things that is great at TMC is you have all of these task force and all these breakout sessions. One of them that I was a part of, I was listening to people talk very passionately about the risks to people operating commercial equipment if they are not, like if they're not compliant in some way and there's an accident and God forbid someone's hurt, it opens them to huge liability. Huge. So this is really important for these owner operators.
Yeah, we actually have several customers that the reason they've invested in the skills is for that reason. It's the liability reasons. And I won't say who they are, but we did have a fleet that happened to. Got in an accident. Unfortunately, someone got severely injured. Then they had a huge liability issue on their hand that now they put the scales on. They make sure every time one of those trucks drives down the road, it's legal. That way they take that liability risk out of their hands.
Awesome. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Don't have a heavy-duty part number and need to look up a part? Go to parts.diesellaptops.com or download the app on Apple or Android to create your free account. Looking for high-quality fuel injection for heavy-duty applications? Having one supplier for fuel injection allows you to better serve customers by providing them with a complete line, which increases your sales and profitability. Learn more at ambackinternational.com/aftermarket.
We're back from our break, and before the break, we were excited to learn about a new product that Airway has brought to the market for owner-operators. We're at TMC's annual meeting. The theme is electrification of the trucking industry. How is electrification going to impact maintenance management in the future?
Yeah, and that's why TMC is so important, because with new electric vehicles, new technology, you have to learn all of that information because it's all interconnected. There's sensors everywhere on those vehicles, including weight sensors. But those mechanics need to learn all that stuff. I mean, it's complicated and there's a lot to learn. So being a member of TMC and coming to shows like this is vital so they can learn that information and get it firsthand. Because the whole world is changing when you're talking about electric vehicles, and, they're not going to be hopping in there and working on an engine anymore. They're going to be figuring out how those batteries connect, how to get the life out of them, where everything is, how that interconnects with the onboard computers and sensors like us with scale systems. So all of that is changing, and they need TMC and those sessions and those classes to make sure they learn how to operate those and work on those vehicles properly.
Right. And as your products have become more complicated in some ways from a technological perspective, not that they're hard to use, but just that there's a lot of tech now behind products like what you bring to the market. There's this issue of diagnostics. And now you have all of this data about the vehicle, but almost like it's like, how do you parse out that data into something that can be usable, and how do you diagnose the problem? So that's where I've seen, this theme for this annual meeting is just perfect timing for what's going on in the industry. Yeah. And repair technicians, they need access to this good information so that they can handle the diagnostics. Is that what you've seen as well?
Yeah, and that interconnectivity is so important because a mechanic now can download, like you said, all that information. And it's all about predictive maintenance. You'd be able to get a much more precise report of exactly what's going on in that vehicle. And then the mechanic can focus on that rather than just bringing a truck and trailer in the old days, give it a once through with everything and try to figure out what's wrong with it. Now you can dial that in because of the interconnectivity. And that's really what these electric vehicles are about, is making it easier to do that.
So we're here, we're in Orlando, we're at the show. What's been one highlight of the show so far?
For us, I think, again, it comes back to the technology and the interconnectivity. So one of the highlights for us is every time we integrate with a partner, it just makes everything we've been talking about easier for the mechanics and the fleet managers. So one of those is we just finished an integration with Hyundai called HT LinkSense. And so basically that's just an open source trailer integration telematics device that takes all the information from all the different sensors on the trailers, and then it provides it to another party where you can get that information in the back office. So we've partnered with them. So now they get the weight data along with cargo sensors, wheel end temperature, all of the things that are important, especially for a mechanic, to monitor brake pads, all of that stuff. So we integrate. Now they can download those reports and see what's happening with that trailer in real time. Hugely valuable for a mechanic, though, to be able to see that. And what they can do with the weight information in that respect is they can see by truck number, okay, this truck consistently was overweight. Okay, we need to check that for these problems that we know are associated with weight. It just lets them dial into those problems based on the sensors and the information they get. So that's exciting for us, is that integration and that interconnectivity we get with our partners.
Right, but so following that logic though, if you also identified that a truck was running consistently underweight, now there's a revenue opportunity, right?
We have a customer right now. That's a good point, because we have a customer right now that's exactly what they're doing. So we also integrate with Geotab, and you can get back office reports. So what's really cool about that is they get a report and he can look at and say, like, Indianapolis truck number 33. Wow, truck number 33 that month was averaging 72,000. Why are we leaving 8,000 pounds of payload every single time on that truck? They can go back to Indianapolis and say, what are we doing wrong? Why are we not efficient? How do we optimize this operation so we can maximize those payloads so we can get revenue? And this fleet actually eliminated some assets because they were so inefficient that they started maximizing the payload. They didn't need to use a couple of the vehicles anymore.
Oh, okay. Now we're really going off script here, but now we're touching into the issue of drivers, right? Shortage, things like that. Mm-hmm. And this is going to have a direct impact on that, right? Absolutely. Especially with that fleet. If they have less units, then now maybe they have enough drivers.
Yeah. And also, it helps with the maintenance staff because there's less vehicles in the maintenance shop because they're much more efficient and they don't have to worry about that. So it helps with all aspects of the fleet. For us, it's all about optimizing your fleet, getting the most out of your assets, and being as efficient as possible.
And utilization is a word that we keep hearing at this show, absolutely. So for someone who's listening, maybe sitting on the fence about becoming a member, and by the way, membership isn't company-wide. It's individual people become members of TMC. So if there's someone listening right now and they're thinking about being a member, what would you say to them? Why should they become a TMC member?
Because the information that you can get here is extremely valuable. The sessions they provide, the trainings they provide, they cover everything that you can imagine in the trucking industry. If you come here and you look down the list of the sessions they have, everything is covered. And you can learn everything you ever wanted to learn about how to take care of a truck, how to use it, the new technology. And that's really what it is, the new technology. If you're not a member or you're not part of this, then you've got to go and try and find that. Here, it's laid out for you. You can pick and choose which ones are the ones that you need to learn, what's important to you. So it's vital especially if you're in maintenance, to be a part of this so you can get that information.
You've been listening to the Heavy Duty Parts Report. I'm your host, Jamie Irvin, and we've been speaking with Michael Ferguson from Airway. To learn more about Airway, visit air-way.com. Links are in the show notes for their website, as well as if you want to go back and listen to episode 104. Michael, great to see you in person, and thank you for being on the Heavy Duty Parts Report once again.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure to be here.
Thank you for watching this video. Click here to subscribe to the Heavy Duty Parts Report YouTube channel, and click here to watch another great episode.